Hey, this is Paul, and I'm talking about A Course in Miracles. This is like take 4. I'm going to be talking about the body's eyes and why the body cannot see reality, and what implications that has in your perception and your ability to be aware of God. And I'm going to quickly run through a few quotes here from the Course that talk about the body's eyes and why it can only see physical objects. The purpose of the world you see is to obscure your function of forgiveness and provide you with a justification for forgetting it. It is the temptation to abandon God and His Son by taking on a physical appearance. It is this that the body's eyes look upon. So the purpose of the world is to make things physical in order to reject God and His Son, and to make the body capable of only looking at the physical appearance. Only the form of error attracts the ego, meaning it does not recognize and does not see if it's there or not. Everything the body's eyes see is a mistake, an error in perception, a distorted fragment of the whole without the meaning that the whole would give. And one point here is that all physical forms are errors. Some people have debated this and said no. I say yes. Only the form of error attracts the ego. The body's eyes were made to only look at errors, physical forms. Physical forms and objects are the form of the error of the idea of separation being real. Nothing the body's eyes see can be anything but a form of temptation, since this was the purpose of the body itself. The body's eyes see only form. They cannot see beyond what they were made to see, and that's an important point. They cannot see beyond forms. No matter how you perceive, no matter how you think, no matter how you interpret your awareness, the body's eyes cannot see past forms. They're not designed to be able to. They cannot see beyond what they were made to see. And they were made to look on error and not see past it. So physical forms are error, and the body's eyes were designed to focus on the error and not see anything else but error. Theirs is indeed a strange perception, for they can only see illusions, unable to look beyond the granite block of sin, and stopping at the outside form of nothing. The body's eyes can only see illusions. Very important fact. The body's eyes can only see illusions, and the things that the body's eyes see is the physical world. Yes, the body's eyes look at physical objects, forms of error, which are illusions. The body's eyes can only see illusions. Anything that I see with my physical eyes must be an illusion. And it's not, that doesn't mean that you have illusions about the world. It is not to do with you having a perceptual interpretation of what you see. We're not even talking about how your mind uses those images. We're only talking about the body's eyes. The body's eyes only see illusions. Physical things that the body's eyes see are illusions. This is why the world, the physical world, is an illusion. This is hotly contested, but it's very clear in the statements that Jesus makes. The body's eyes can only see illusions. It only looks at physical objects, cannot see past error, only looks at errors and illusions. Everything I see in this room, my body, the walls, the window, the trees outside, are illusions that my physical eyes are only able to see. I can only see errors. Everywhere I look, every single physical form is an error. It's a mistake. I'm having a mistaken vision. My body's showing me shit that doesn't exist. Let's go back here. Unable to look past the granite block of sin and stopping at the outside form of nothing. Physical form, as the form of error, is the form of sin. It is the idea of sin. The body is the idea of sin made flesh and projected outward. That is what the Course says. The physical form of the body is the idea of sin. Not your interpretation of the body, not your whatever perception you choose to have, loving or hating or whatever, it doesn't matter. The physicality of it is sin. And it presents a wall that your body's eyes cannot look past on purpose, because the ego made the physical objects so that you would look at sin and say, this is the error that I've made. I've made sin, I've made error, I've made illusions of physical form to block my sight so that I only fixate and look at the idea that sin exists and sin is real. Physical matter is sin. The wall that stands between you and the truth that seems to be wholly true. So physical matter is a wall that stands between you and the truth that you think is real, because you believe that sin is real and physical objects are sin. They are error, they are illusions of separation. The body is a separation device. It's a projection of the idea of sin. This all adds up perfectly, but many people don't want this. I don't know why people are fighting this fact. It is a simple fact, and it's very well explained by Jesus. I'm a little bit pissed. I'm a little bit aggro today because I've been trying too hard to get other people to see this when they don't want to, and it just makes me frustrated. So and yet how can sight that stops at nothingness, as if it was a solid wall, see truly? It is held back by form, having been made to guarantee that nothing else but form will be perceived. Form definitely freaking is physical matter. Some people have been claiming, oh, it's not physical matter. And thought creates form on some level. It's either going to be physical form or an energy form, some kind of illusion form. Every form is an illusion. Doesn't matter if it's physical or ethereal or astral plane or whatever. Forms are illusions. And the body was made to guarantee, like 100% consistent and never failing, to only look at forms. So that means that when you're in a body and you're looking with the body's eyes and the body's physical vision, anything that you see, your house, your car, people, bodies, trees, the weather, the planet, outer space, the sun, birds and animals and pets, you are seeing illusions. You are looking at illusions, you're looking at forms of error, you're looking at sin, and you're looking at things that don't exist. Okay? These eyes, made not to see, will never see. This is worth repeating. This is the guarantee of vision of the eyes. This is what the eyes were made to do. The eyes made not to see will never see. For the idea that they represent left not its maker, and it is their maker that sees through them. What was its maker's goal but not to see? When you made the body, not God, when you made the body, which is illusion and sin and error, and a form of error, you were trying not to see, and you made a block. The body is a block to awareness. Physical objects are blocks to awareness. Physical forms, physical matter is designed to stop you seeing. So your eyes, that everybody thinks, most people in the world think, yeah, I see with my eyes. If you knew the full picture and the full perspective that you're supposed to be seeing reality, which is somewhere else, and it's everywhere and huge, and all of it has been blocked out by putting a body here with fake vision, artificial vision, which operates in illusions, meaning that what it seems to be doing, it's not doing. It is a lie. It's back to front and upside down. Your eyes are not seeing reality. They are pretending to see illusions as if they are real. Your eyes only are capable of false perception. They cannot show you the truth. You cannot look with your body ever and see, I see reality. Ever. Not even with true perception. Even when you're having true perception, which is an interpretation of what the body's seeing, the body image is still a form of error. The body is still incapable of seeing reality. It is designed to guarantee that you will never, ever, ever see reality with the body's eyes. There's not a little loophole. There isn't a little, maybe there's a slight blurring of possibility at the utmost limits of consciousness. The body is a device, like a piece of equipment, like a machine, which is only designed to do one thing. It is a mechanism. Like a machine, it can only do what it was designed to do. It cannot be adjusted. It cannot be made to do something it was not designed for. So if I take my computer and say I'm going to drive down the street on my computer, it's probably not going to work. If I try to use my cell phone to clean the dishes, there's going to be a problem. If I try to use take some clothing and say this clothing is going to allow me to go into space, not going to happen, because the form is limited to a certain function, a certain set of limited capabilities. It's sort of locked in to a design and can only do the limited range of functions that you designed it to do. The body's eyes don't have the flexibility to see reality. They were never designed to. They were only designed to put you in a box and hide your awareness from reality and only look at illusions, fixating on illusions, errors, sins, forms of error, blocks to awareness, ways that you're physical and not spiritual, to make it so that you can't see. The body's eyes were made not to see. You will never be able to use the body's eyes to physically look at reality or heaven or God. When there's a thing in the book that talks about God is in everything I see because God is in my mind, and people take that to mean if God's in my mind, I'm going to be able to use my body's eyes to see God. That is not true. And there's a whole section in the course talking about visions, where if you have a vision of God, it is not seeing God. It is just a temporary symbol in a dream. It is a fictional idea, a representation, like a dream figure, like a body, seeing something that isn't real, that seems to symbolize something that is beyond it, that you can't see. And so God being in everything you see either is going to have to take you beyond seeing bodies and forms of any kind, or it's going to be an illusion. It's going to be a symbolic dream representation of something goddish, godlike, that you think represents what God's like. What was the Maker's goal but not to see? For the body's eyes are a perfect means, but not for seeing. See how the body's eyes rest on externals and cannot go beyond. They rest on externals. You see a physical object and you rest, your vision stops right there on the surface and doesn't go past it. You're blocked by physical matter. Watch how they stop at nothingness. That means the thing that they stop at, the physical form, is nothingness. Pretending to be something, it is an illusion. Unable to go beyond the form to meaning. So my physical eyes can't look past my hands. If I put my hands over my eyes, you can't see my eyes. Your eye vision cannot look past physical objects, forms of error. And here's one of my favorites. Nothing so blinding as perception of form. And this doesn't just, for sight of form means understanding has been obscured. So it's not just that sometimes you're blinded by form. It's not that you're blinded by form only when you have false perception. It's that form is always blinding. Whenever your eyes see forms, you are not seeing. Whenever you see physical objects with your physical eyes, you are not seeing. You're blinded by the sight of there being forms there. And I'm going to get to it in a bit. I'm going to talk about how you can reinterpret what your eyes see and what that means. But it doesn't mean what many people have taken it to mean, that the world becomes freaking reality suddenly. Sin is a block. Physical objects are sin. They are blocks. Like a heavy gate, locked and without a key across the road to peace. Peace is beyond physical objects. No one who looks on it without the help of reason would try to pass it. The body's eyes behold it as solid granite, so thick that it would be madness to attempt to pass it. So the body's eyes see sin as real, always, no matter how spiritual you are. They always see physicality as solid and true, even though it's an illusion. And the body's eyes then, the image, it looks like it would be madness to try to go past the physical barrier. reason sees through it easily because it is an error. The form it takes cannot conceal its emptiness from reason's eyes. So if you have reason, if you're sane, and you don't believe illusions are real, and you don't believe in sin, and you don't believe what your body's eyes show you, you will see past form, past physical objects, past surfaces, past matter, to the truth beyond it, and you'll be able to overlook it because you know that this stuff, physical stuff, is an error. This body is an error. Your body is an error. You have to learn how to see past the surface, past the body, past the matter, past the particles of physical matter, because your body's eyes are not going to be able to do that for you. They're going to trap you and be locked into a prison of this false perception world that you made, where you only see error 24/7. Visual errors everywhere. Every day you wake up and you look around the room, you're looking at errors. This is why you have to learn how to overlook everything physical, and that's forgiveness. Let your awareness of your brother not be blocked by your perception of his sins and of his body. Beyond his errors is his holiness and your salvation. So beyond his physical form is his holiness. Do not be blocked by your perception of his sins and his body. So here's the conundrum, here's the problem that we have with perception and why we're stuck in a dream. You've got this machine that you've made that has sensors. One of the sensors is your eyeballs. Your eyeballs feed light into your head and show you pictures of what seems to be physical things out there in the world. Except the problem is that the things it's looking at are all illusions. The body's eyes only see error. They cannot look past error. They cannot see the truth. The body's eyes are not based on the idea of seeing truth. They're based on the idea of, I don't want to see the truth. And so they only fixate on a world that's fiction. So that's a bit of a problem. How do you get past an illusory world that your body was designed to only look at and make seem real, and to take it at face value and think this is reality? How do you get past that? Given that you cannot change how the eyes work, your physical body eyes will always function the same. They're based on laws of physics, ego laws. It's kind of like you live in a box, but you have like a virtual reality headset on. You live inside a box, and outside the box is reality. But on the inside of the box, you've put your head in the box and put the lid on the box, and you're looking inside at this little world. There's pictures painted on the inside walls of the box that are pictures of fantasies and pretend realities and places that don't exist. And your physical eyes are made to only look at these little images inside the box. And you can't see out of the box. You're kept in the dark. And no matter how you frame it, your eyes will never see past the surfaces of the box. And if that was all that there is to you, if you were just a body, if you didn't have a mind, you would be stuck in that forever. You would be only able to see with the body's eyes, and you would only ever see illusions. You'd only ever be looking at sin and error and fantasy and pretending that it's reality. You'd be stuck in that box for eternity if you didn't have a mind. So the Course is not about changing your eyeballs. It's not about getting your body to see reality. It's not possible to get a physical body with physical eyeballs to see the truth. The body's eyes don't see. They were made not to see. They will never see. The machinery of the eye is not designed to look at truth. So it's kind of like you're sort of wearing this suit, and the suit is designed by a nasty, evil company who wanted to get you to see their advertisements forever and ever, and to fixate you on them so you only ever see their advertisements and you never see reality. So you find yourself in a body, and you find yourself looking out through the body's eyes that you made to stop yourself from seeing. So now you've got this conundrum. How are you going to get out of this? Now, fortunately, part of seeing isn't dependent on the body. The mind is what actually sees. But what the mind sees depends on two things: what the body shows it, and how your perceptual interpretation function interprets what the body shows it. So you've got kind of like, if you were like a camera, you're kind of made of three parts. It's kind of like you have your eyes of the lens on the front of the camera. Behind the lens you've put a filter, and it filters in and out certain things. And then in the back you have a photo sensor that actually records the image. The photo sensor is your mind, the filter is your perception, and the lens is your physical body. So your body doesn't really have a choice of what it feeds in. It just registers whatever's there, whatever's there, whatever's there. Physical, physical, physical. Illusion, illusion. Sin, sin, error. All it can ever show is physical error. So now you've got errors coming into your mind, coming in through your system, and the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to pass through the filter of your belief system, which is your perceptual system that interprets those signals. So you've got errors coming in, errors, illusions seeming to be real, bodies looking like they're real, physical objects and forms that the body can't look past, coming into the mind. So now you've got these images of, I see a physical world, and this is coming in, pictures of physical world, pictures of unreality. So now, back here in your mind, you're going to have to sort out what this means to you and what you see in it and how you interpret it and how you're going to use these images. So the body is already giving you false perception of the worst kind. It is showing you illusions as if they're real. It's showing you attack, it's showing you death, it's showing you wars and people being sick and explosions and terrible disasters, anything you can possibly imagine on the news, your body's eyes will show you. And while you have a body, they will always show you that. When you get into true perception, you don't fail to see that shit. You still see that as before. Jesus even says so, that you're still going to register bodies in various states of sickness and things like that. But now you're going to have this something happen back here that's going to have to try to translate this horrible hell that your body is fixated on looking at. Your body can only see hell. So how are you going to get to where you see heaven, or you at least perceive something that is a symbol of heaven? How can you get to a happy dream when all your body can do is show you violence and hatred? And Jesus isn't talking about trying to get to a place where you don't see this world having wars and problems and sickness and death. He wants you to see it in a different way, to recognize it as an illusion with reason. So in your, back here in your interpretation, something's going to have to happen to reinterpret images of hell. Blocks to awareness, because sight of physical objects is a block to awareness. It's blocking you from seeing God. Somehow your mind is going to have to decide to use these images in a different way. And so the only choices that you have, the only thing that the Holy Spirit's interested in is this false or is it true? Is what the body's showing me reality and truth, or is it a deception and a lie and an illusion, something that's not true, that you don't believe in? So to get into that true perception state where you are experiencing what you think is heaven on earth, or the forgiven world, your mind's going to have to decide, the body's still giving me pictures of hell, it's still giving me pictures of hell, still giving me physical lies and blocks and surfaces, but I'm going to choose to see these differently. And the only option that you have, because these things are illusions and they're false, is to come to recognize them as false. Because when you're in false perception, your mind, the filtering system, is going to be lined up with what the body's eyes show you. So now you've got errors and sin and blocks coming into the eyes. And if your perception system says, yes, this is reality, this is truth, this is not an illusion, it's not an error, it's not a sin, it is it is reality and not a fiction, and you believe what you see, now your perception has become false to line up with the false perception that the eyes are having. So to get out of that, you've got to change your perception of the images coming in the eyes, your interpretation of what the body sees, so that even when the body gives you a picture of hell, which it will still do, it can only do, your mind will say, look at it in such a way that it doesn't register to you as real. So you've got these lies coming in, and the mind is going to recognize they're lies. You've got these images of physical objects coming in, trying to pretend to tempt you to believe, forms of temptation to tempt you to believe that these forms are really there and they're really solid. The granite block of sin that you can't see past, and your mind's going to have to get to where it's like, I don't believe that this is a block to my perception. I don't believe that this is the truth, that my body's eyes are lying to me. I recognize that these images of physical limitation are not making statements of truth. And this is how you see past and overlook the illusory world. So everything physical that's a lie, it's inherently an illusion. It's a form of sin and error. It is not ever going to be a form of truth. All forms are errors. Truth does not have a form. The physical world is made to be a block, made of sin. It is not going to turn into, it's still a block, but it's holy. It's still a block, but it's been converted into reality. That's bullshit. It never will. The world is always going to be made of sin and death, made of the idea of fear, made of the attempt to block out reality and God. So you want to take those forms and turn them into reality. You're actually saying, I'd rather stay in a blocked state and not see the reality that really is out there past the forms. I only want to see the forms as if they're real. And that is insanity, because these forms are illusions. The body's eyes only see illusions. And that doesn't mean the body's eyes are not really correctly seeing the physical things that are out there, as if I would just see them a bit differently, I'm going to realize that they're physically wonderful. That doesn't exist. This world is an illusion. It's made of illusion. Illusion isn't just about how you interpret. It's about an image. It's a picture of the crucifixion of God's Son. The whole world is. And your body is always going to be looking at a picture of crucifixion, no matter how happy your dream is. And it's up to your mind to learn that this picture of crucifixion is not real. It is not the truth. It is not what's really there, because beyond the picture, there is reality. Beyond appearances of physical objects, there is reality. Past the body of your brother is his holiness. And this is what forgiveness is all about. It's all about taking this attempted temptation, which is the physical matter, which is the belief in sin, taking the physical temptation in through the eyes and learning not to be tempted, not to believe in it, and instead to completely overlook it. So now you've got these signals coming in saying there's death, there's war, there's famine, there's attack, there's all kinds of nasty things, And then but your mind is going, I look past all that. I overlook all that. I see past it. I don't register the body. I'm not even going to buy into that image. That image is an illusion. That image isn't even really there. My sight, my vision of Christ is going to not even barely even register that my eyes are showing me pictures of shit. It's gonna see through them, past the surfaces of physical objects, to see beyond the physical. And the physical was made to blind you. It was made to stop you from seeing. So in order to see, you have to learn how to see past physical matter. If you think it's going to be that I'm going to still look at physical matter, and physical matter is going to be my friend, and physical matter is going to be just lovely, and it's going to be holy, and I'm going to just keep that physical matter for as long as I wish. And it's going to be my home. I love being in physical matter. I just love being limited and not aware of reality. But making it into reality, that's just insanity. It's bullshit. This world doesn't exist. It was made to block you from being with God. It is a wall. It is a fence that you put around your mind, the body. It is a block of sin that separates you from what's on the other side of that sin. It is the separation idea between God is up here, you had a separation idea which has formed a wall of death, and now you're on the other side of the wall and you can't see God because this freaking wall's in the way. If you want to see God in everything you see, you're going to have to see past physicality. You can't keep the physicality and the appearance and the form, which is a deception, and see God at the same time. If you really, really want to see God in everything you see, you want to see all of God, there cannot be anything getting in the way. There cannot be forms. There cannot be materials. There cannot be bodies getting in the way. Forms do not coexist with God. They are an attack on God. To summarize, the body is incapable of seeing reality. Never will. It is a sensor that is sensing a fictional world made of illusion. There's nothing in the world that is true. It is hell. It is the idea of an opposite to reality. This entire world and everything in it is made to oppose reality and stand in the way of it so that you don't have a connection with it. It's a breakdown in communication. So your body's eyes, as a sensory machine, will only ever detect hell. Ever. So it's going to send you signals that are signals that say, I see that hell is real, which is false perception. The body's eyes can only see false perception, and Jesus says outright, the world is false perception. The world you made, this physical world, the illusory forms of physical matter, is false perception. It is. This is why he said that it's you see a distorted fragment of the whole, just a little piece of what obscures the whole, without the meaning, that the whole would give. So you don't see the whole. The body's eyes only see separation. So you're going to get signals of hell coming into your body's eyes, forms seeming to be real, looking at surfaces as if they're really there and made of reality, which they're not, coming into your eyes. So you've got this false perception happening at the beginning of the process. You've got these lies coming into your eyes. This little box world that you're living in that's saying, this fantasy environment is reality. I'm going to show you this fantasy world. And so you're looking at this and you're totally locked in physically to looking only at that. And you can't, the body is just hardwired into that, and it can never get out of it. It can never escape the box. So that's the problem. So now back as those images of hell, which includes sunsets and puppies and your favorite car and the house that you think is amazing and all the things you value in the world, they are all hell. Physical matter is hell. Separation from God. This stuff comes into your sensors, and so it's saying, that's what's out there. That's what I see. I see this. Your eyes don't have a brain in them. They don't have thoughts. They don't interpret. They don't think. They just register the signal. They're devices for sensing. So once this sort of plain, unfiltered signal comes into your eyes, goes past your eyes into your, the next thing it hits is your filter, your belief system. Your belief system made of values, in which whatever you value you will believe in, and whatever you believe in you want, and whatever you want to see. And through those values and beliefs, therefore, you filter the body's signal, which means that now either you're going to narrow down your filter so much that you make limitation seem like it's real, and that will now line up with what the body's showing you as hell, and then you will perceive in a hellish way that the body's signals are the truth. And you'll be having a nightmare if you do that, because you'll believe that there's no escape from this horrible reality. But when your perception, your belief system expands and becomes whole and based on love and based on unity and oneness and forgiveness and not believing that illusions are real, overlooking bodies, seeing past forms to reality, looking at the Christ in your brother, which is past his body, not allowing your belief system to have any belief in bodies at all, having no conviction that physicality has any power to do anything, that it has no causality, it cannot stop you, that you just go right past it, you just push past it like it doesn't even exist. When you have that kind of perceiving, true perception with the Holy Spirit, these hell images that are coming in the body, that are still coming in the body, are now shone past and disregarded, cancelled, ignored. They don't even barely register in your awareness. They become thin veils that are transparent, almost as if the bodies in the world becomes transparent and thin, and it's disappearing from your vision. The world stops being as solid seeming. It stops seeming like a prison. Its limitations stop seeming like insurmountable limitations. you become free of it. I'm not a body, I am free. I'm free of the limits that my body's eyes are saying you're confined and limited to physicality. You're set free of that because you no longer believe in it. You don't think it's true. You don't buy it. You got these lies feeding into your face. Lies, 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 physical lies, and you're like, fuck that. That's nonsense. That's not true. I don't believe that. This is all ridiculous. And you overlook it. This is what forgiveness is about. It is about looking past, going through, beyond appearances, beyond forms, beyond sin. You have to look past sin to see God in everything you see. Past objects, past the planet, past the bodies of other people, such that this whole world to you becomes transparent and barely even detectable in your perception. That is the forgiven world. That's your interpretation of this vision of hell that your body's still trying to say, this is real, this is real, this is real. And you're saying, I don't even pay any attention to that crap anymore. That stuff is just bullshit. Those signals that my body's trying to convince me of, they don't prove anything. It's a lie. My body's eyes are lying to me. This is the crux of it, that your body can only lie to you. It was made of lies. It will not tell you the truth. So your job is going to have to be to ignore it by looking past it and not believing what it tells you. That is the only way to overlook this dream world and to get back to reality. It's not going to be like, oh, my body's showing me pictures that are freaking amazing. I love this world. Look at that fantastic tree. Oh my God. Let's be a little bit more clear about that. When my perception mechanism is believing in hell, and it's going to line up with the physical images of hell and think that they're true and believe that I'm seeing hell, that lovely tree is not going to look lovely, it's going to look horrible. I'm going to interpret it as being filled with sin and hate and out to get me, and some kind of attack and threat, and I'm going to mistrust it and hate it. But as I forgive and look past obstacles to peace, blocks to awareness, physical forms, belief in the blocks to awareness disappear from my mind. I stop believing in blocks. Blocks are forms. Blocks are physical. As I stop believing in the blocks, I stop being able to use the body's eyes version of things to believe that this is hell. I'm going to start seeing the tree with more forgiveness. I'm still going to register the same physical object in my vision. In my physical vision, still going to see the green leaves and the bark of the tree blowing in the wind. But I'm going to see it with more forgiveness, and I'm going to say, that's quite beautiful, isn't it? That's quite lovely. It's a nice tree. But at the same time, you must also be registering that that is not reality. If you don't, you are very deluded. And it's weird because it's like you had this icky world and you thought, if I would just love this world, I'm going to see a world that I love. And the world's still going to be there, but I'm going to see it in a loving way. and now I'm going to be in a really lovely world. Except that that doesn't happen, because when you were perceiving the world in a shitty way and experiencing the hell images as if they're real, as you transition to a loving perception, you not only look at the tree in a different way, you also go from believing that it's real to believing that it's not real. True perception looks at illusions and recognizes that they're not there. So I'm not going to be able to get to where I'm still seeing that tree with profound love, and it's still showing up as if it's real. My light is going to dispel the tree. The shining of light and love is going to shine past the form of the tree. And I'm going to start seeing God instead of the tree. I'm going to see God in the tree in spite of the tree. I'm going to see past the physical form of the tree, and the tree's going to become eventually transparent, and I'm going to eventually realize that even though I feel love toward it, my love doesn't stop at the surface. My perception doesn't hit the physical form of the surface appearance of the tree. It loves past the tree. It goes past bodies. This is forgiveness. You overlook bodies and forms. So you kind of don't get to a world where there are trees and objects seeming to be completely real and I'm loving them. The completely real illusions seeming to be completely real only occurs in false perception. As I love the world, and I try to love the world, like, here's the world, I'm going to just love that world. If I'm not seeing past it, and I'm not realizing that it's an illusion, a dream, my love is not going to be able to become full love, because full love will show me that that illusion is an illusion, not a reality, and my full love is actually going to shine past that form and not believe in the appearance of the surface. I'm going to look past the tree. So you can either be looking at the tree and getting blinded by sight of form and believing that it's disgusting, or you can look past the tree and recognize that the tree is barely even there and you don't believe in it and it's not real, but you're still loving. You're loving past it. And this is why when you get to true perception, the world disappears. You don't get to a place where you get to keep the physical and love the crap out of it, as if you're just going to keep on seeing surfaces. Your sight is just going to keep on stopping at the surface of illusions and thinking it's real and having love about the surfaces. That is not even remotely forgiveness. That is special love. That is somebody who is in love with the form and the appearance of the world. There's quite a few people that are doing this, people that are saying that they're going to get to a place where they're going to be in a physical world with forms and objects and animals and trees and forests and oceans, and simultaneously be fully loving and fully awake. As if that's possible, as if forms, which are always errors, can coexist with formless reality. It is level confusion. It is a big mistake. It is a very gross mistake in understanding how perception works what is illusion, what is reality, and what the body does and what it's capable of. The body can only show you hell. It can't show you heaven because it's not designed to look at heaven. It's designed only to look down at the fucking shit. So you're going to have to find a way to look past what the shit is being looked at and stop looking at the shit. Stop using the body and see beyond all this body stuff that you made for the purpose of seeing hell. That's why you got to change your perception so that you don't believe in the signals that you're getting from the body. You stop believing your eyes. Don't believe your eyes. People think that if I see it, it's real. It's not. That's completely backwards. If you see it with your eyes, it is not real. Always. So the only way out of the prison is to stop looking at the prison with the prison garb, the prison body. Stop using bodies. That's the only way out. And this is why the body disappears, the world disappears, and all that remains, heaven remains, the one alternative to the strange world you made. Heaven is not physical. Heaven does not have physical forms. Heaven is not a planet. Heaven does not have planet Earth in it. Heaven does not have bodies. People in heaven do not have bodies. People in heaven don't need bodies. Bodies are an attack and an attempt to block awareness of God. You don't want that in heaven. Jesus, after his resurrection, said in some of the material that he gave Helen that with regards to the body, leave it behind, it cannot enter heaven. So wherever heaven is, there cannot be bodies. So if there's bodies here in the physical world, which there is, this cannot be heaven, it is hell. And when I say it's hell, I'm not judging it negatively and sort of saying this world, which is actually heaven and is really wonderful and beautiful, is actually a disgusting fucking pigsty hatred place. I'm not judging it negatively. I'm just observing what it is. Factually, metaphysically, this world that we made is hell. And it is not heaven. So if you want to be in heaven and you want to experience heaven and you want to be happy forever, you're going to have to find a way to overlook and stop believing this world. You're going to have to see past hell, which means seeing past the body's visions, finding a way to not believe what your eyes are telling you, to overlook. This is what forgiveness is all about, is overlooking hell, failing to see hell, and going beyond and past the physical, almost like here's the world, and you're gonna, instead of trying to look at this and make it look fantastic, you're gonna look over here past the world to where heaven is, so that you're fixated on heaven, not on this blob of sin and illusion. So this world is an illusion. That is a total fact. This world is made of illusion, and that illusion is nothing to do with your perception up here in your mind. It's to do with the physical. It is a physical illusion. Your body is fixated on this illusion and taking it literally. So now in your perception, if you have illusions in your perception, they are illusions about the illusion. This is why there are two levels of illusion. There's the world is illusion, and then you have interpretation of the world, which is another layer of illusion. You've got to get the body's eyes are seeing illusion. If your perception also registers illusion as reality, you have illusions about the world. You're in false perception. You're lining up with the body's false perception, which you can only have. The body can only see falsely. If your mind lines up with that falseness, you now have illusions in your perception. Your mind believes that illusions are reality. You're going to experience hell on earth. So that's why you've got to change your perception about the illusory world, so that you learn that the illusion of the world is not really there. It's not real. That doesn't mean that it is heaven. It is always hell. The illusion of the earth is always hell. And your job is interpretation, the changing of your interpretation, that I believe it's true, therefore I experience it as hell, or I believe that it's false, and therefore I recognize that it isn't reality, it is a fake hell, and I see beyond it to heaven, which is something else. It is not about turning the world into frickin' heaven. It cannot be heaven. It's a mechanism, just like the body and the body's eyes. It's a machine designed to do one thing. It will never be heaven. So we've got to learn how to, while we're here still seeing things, to learn to interpret them in defiance of how they appear, in such a way that we don't believe in differences and separations and limitations and ego laws, that we basically kind of don't take anything at face value that the body's eyes show you, and take authority and power over the world, and no longer be limited by it in the ways that it tries to limit you, to transcend and become supernatural over this illusory world, so you're in a position of sitting up here knowing that world down there that my body keeps showing me, that's not reality. Reality's over there in heaven. And this stuff that my body keeps trying to convince me is real isn't real. And so your mind will then become able to not be limited by the body, not be limited by sight of form, and not believe anything that the body is saying about the world, so that you start to experience something past what the body is trying to show you. You see past this thin illusion. The veil starts lifting, and you go beyond, and you look at reality and be with God in heaven, instead of this bullshit world, which is all made of dreams and lies and fiction. This is A Course in Miracles. This is what I've learned the Course is saying and meaning, and it makes total sense to me, and hopefully it makes sense to some people, but I know that some people are either not seeing it, or they don't want to, or they just believe a whole different version, where the world is some kind of amazing heaven place that you want to hang out forever and ever. Have fun with your illusory world. You're dreaming. Each to their own. Anyway, I will stop there, and let's wake up from this fantasy and remember reality. Reality is not like this. Peace and love, and Woodstock, and bye. See you later.